Hey there, orchestra students across the globe. This is Jen Mulhern. I'm here with Orchestra Tutor because we hear that you guys have a UIL contest coming up. And of course, we want to do everything possible to make sure that you succeed and feel pretty awesome about the experience, because it's a pretty fun one. So let's talk a little bit about it. For those of you who saw region pointers, a lot of the audition tips that we gave out in that video are going to be similar to the ones that I tell you right now. And they basically apply to any time you're performing. So do the things that you know to do. Really practice a little bit the night before, right? Take your instrument home the day before the contest and go over the tough spots. And then get a great night's sleep. And maybe a little exercise the night before or the morning of will help you if you're feeling shaky. Another thing I like to do is to really think about the breakfast I'm going to eat and to stay away from the donuts and the sugar and to try to eat something that's going to really make me feel full for a long time and that I know is good brain food. Like maybe some scrambled eggs instead of donuts, right? Maybe a nice glass of water instead of, I don't know, Mountain Dew. Hopefully you're not drinking that for breakfast. So the morning of, the most important thing that I can think of, other than sleeping well and eating well, and grooming yourself, make sure you got the best black socks in your whole sock drawer. Make sure that your orchestra outfit is as comfortable as it can be, and if you have to pack it, make sure you have the whole thing with it. But other than that, here's a little pointer for you. Take 5 minutes before you get to school. Go somewhere with your instrument where you can be all alone and where there's no other sounds except maybe, average sounds of your family getting ready. But spend about 5 minutes of alone time with your instrument. And in that time, you can play a scale, you could make up a song, you could play the hardest part of your school music. You can do whatever you want. But just take your time, wake up a little bit, and spend 5 minutes listening to the sound of your own instrument. Because later in the day, you're not going to get to experience that. Later in the day might actually feel a little bit chaotic, and your warm-up room will be noisy. So bond or connect with your instrument for just those few minutes in the morning, and then pack everything up and get on with that day, because I'm sure that you've got times that you're supposed to meet and buses and schedules to keep to. Right. So I want to talk a little bit about the actual day of UIL. Of course, you're aware of the sight reading component. This is probably one of the more intimidating parts of UIL, at least how I remember it when I was your age. Yes, people can perform a piece nearly perfectly if they look at it, absorb it, and try to think about how it sounds ahead of time. So you're completely capable of scoring that 1 or 2 on sight reading. Here's what it's going to take. First of all, you've got to be open eyes, 110%. You've got to be looking at your teacher and your director, listening with all of your concentration power. So let's say you're really good at that. Well, the rest of it just comes down to how you look as a group. So really make sure your rest position and your posture and everything that you can do to appear professional is happening, right? Maybe it's just the simple act of watching your teacher and getting ready to play as soon as those batons raise into the air. So when you're ready to go, when you look sharp, when you're attentive, you'll find that the scary part of sight reading really isn't so scary. You're in a big group and you all have each other's back, right? If you do miss a note, your stand partner might have you covered, right? So really do your best to look through the music and just imagine how it sounds. When you're shadow bowing and practicing it and running through it silently, look attentive and pay attention. And then when it's time to perform it, give it all you got. If you do make that mistake, don't flinch, just keep going, right? I would rather hear a sight reading performance that was exciting and had one mistake than a boring, scared, wimpy sight reading performance where everybody's afraid to make a mistake. All right, so sight reading, good luck. Now, of course, you got to prepare some pieces as well. Same thing, look attentive. Imagine what it would look like to see your orchestra as a little birdie in the audience from the very top row. And sometimes those judges are sitting very far away. You might not be able to see them or barely be able to hear them, but they can see your entire group. So again, try not to fidget. Try to be comfortable and calm in your body. Once you sit in rest position, just stay there. Once it's time to play, have that instrument up immediately. And all of your rehearsals and all of the time you've spent practicing will come through in your performance. So just let it go. Music is about feeling the music, so don't hold back. Do all the dynamics 100%. Think of all of the things that you can concentrate on take a deep breath and just perform. You're with your team, you're with your friends, you're with your cello, violin, viola, bass sections, and at this point, really, it's all about just letting it all go and forgetting the judges are even there. All right, so there's something you can do in the meantime. This is a special pointer that I want to include. In life, when we go to school, there's field trips, kinds where you get to go out and see new things and hang out with your friends, and maybe they let you go off on your own and walk around a museum or whatever. And then there's a contest, like UIL Contest. And probably the biggest mistake people make is that they think that UIL is more of a field trip. So my recommendation for you is don't go giggle crazy. Don't treat UIL as much of a field trip where it's a party and you get to have fun and you're not in school. I mean, that is part of it. But the main thing is that you worked really hard. A lot of hours were put into this. And sometimes being with your friends can be very supportive, but don't take it over the top and go crazy and act wild. Try to remember that you're representing your school and that for your own concentration powers, just to try to stay relaxed and calm through most of the day does actually help when it's time to perform or sight read. So you get to hang out with your best music friends. Awesome. Maybe you get to see people from other schools that you haven't run into for a while. Great. Just try to keep everything about your stage presence and your anticipation just a little bit more relaxed. And when you're excited to be with your friends, give them a high five and then go warm up on your part. So do your best to really keep track of what your teacher needs on UIL day. And I know you guys will do great. And hey, maybe you'll be making a video someday for the next generation of UIL contest people. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.